Shout out to our audio visual team, Ricky Mendez. That looks so dope. I'm so proud just watching that, man. Makes me so excited. Gets me all amped up. How you doing there, young man? You doing all right?
Doing excellent, my friend.
I know you
Excellent.
are. You always are. So we're going to make a big announcement today, man. An exciting announcement. And prior to making that announcement, before we bring him on, just a little context, a little framing. So I had the good fortune of meeting this gentleman when I was new in the game. So he is to kind of me, he was one of those individuals, like I was for you, Jose, that really helped me to, understand what the game was. And he actually invited me to go shadow him in his area where he dominates. And I remember vividly because I was doing like maybe 50, 60 deals. He was doing like 150 at the time. He had two offices separated where his staff was like on one office and he was in the other one. And it was like Kaiser Soze. There was no, it's like blackout shades. You don't even know, like, you know what I mean? That it was a real estate office and he's in there with bullpens. He had double dialing. He had two headsets on like a wild man, right? And it just blew my mind. It really set this framework for me initially of the difference between, I had heard and understood intellectually the difference between income servicing and income producing. And I got to see tangibly and viscerally what that actually looks like in practice. So that was very helpful to me. And, after that visit, I proceeded to separate those two things, put systems in place. And that allowed me to get to 100 deals, doing over 100 for 10 years in a row, 200 deals a year twice. And he's been just cranking all along, man. 5,000 homes sold in his career, over $1 billion of transactions. And this for me is, it's kind of like a full circle thing, right? And I told him specifically, I'm like, hey, dude, you helped me a lot, during my kind of come up. And it's really awesome to me to be able to, perhaps be of help or assistance or guidance to you in some way. So with that, let's bring onto the stage the newest member of the Elite Builder family, the one and only OG himself, Mr. JQ, Jeff Quinton, in the house, baby. There he is. Look at him, looking all cute. I want to pinch his cheeks.
What's up, guys? How are you?
What's up, player? How you doing, man?
Doing well. How are you guys?
We're doing great. We're doing phenomenal. Super excited to have you, as a partner here in what we're doing at eXp and the Elite Builders. So I guess I'm curious, man. Like, I know you've been selling real estate in high volume for a long period of time. You actually used to, be entrenched in a previous kind of model, even had, perhaps some ownership or things of that nature.
Sure.
So what caused you at this stage in the game with 5,000 homes sold, right, over $1 billion in transactions to reach out to me maybe 90 days ago and say, hey, what's this eXp thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's first, thanks guys for inviting me on today. And it's an honor and pleasure to be in business with you guys and partnering in and all that good stuff, right? I'm trying to figure out this whole thing here. There we go.
You got it.
Yeah, it's just, I got this crap in the background though. Anyway,
you look cute, bro. You're good.
You like that? So, for me, it's, I guess, a few things. One, has been in the business a long time, as you guys know, 30 plus years. And what I noticed is what you guys are doing and have done very well is that you're at a point in your careers where you're able to get paid for the knowledge you know. And I said to myself, I've been giving this away for a long time, which I'm okay to, and I always do, and been giving back to to this real estate, community and the industry for a long time. And I also said to myself, look, it's time for me to be able to do something more and be able to put together a lot of the knowledge that I have into trainings, masterminds, coaching, mentorship, courses, and said, I want to do this. I think the best way to do it is through media. And at the same time, layer that on top of a brokerage that will support it, will help me grow it, and then help me with an organization that, I can attract from what I'm teaching. And at the same time, grow an organization like a rev share, you guys are doing. And, the current brokerage or the previous current brokerage, it just wouldn't allow me to do that. Right. And the other opportunities that come along with it. And I watched you, Aaron, from, obviously we've known each other, go back a long time, started to do that. Jose, same thing. And you're doing it and doing it at a high level. And I was sitting back going, man, he's doing what I want to do. They're doing what I want to do. I'm like, teach me how to doggy.
Yeah. And I love it, bro, because what's so cool about that is like when I came out and shadowed you, I was like, hey, he's doing what I want to do. So I reached out to you. And then now you were like, hey, I'm at this place, I'm at this stage. I want to kind of really still interested in doing lots of units and volume, really want to begin to lead and step into that leadership position to look around and say, hey, what platform, right, is the best platform for me to build this on top of? And then simultaneously, who should I get proximity to that's currently doing it so I could, begin to download that information and hit the ground running.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
awesome. Jose, I saw you taking notes, bro. What are you thinking over there?
Well, what I was thinking is, for those of you guys wondering, like 30 years in the business, he started when he was 2, just so you guys know.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify that for the viewers out there. No, what I was just wondering is, I had a conversation with an agent that comes from very similar background to what we all do. And we were somewhat explaining the model to them. And they were just like, no, I only want to focus on production. This is like the only way. This is all I want to do. And I remember when I was like first introduced to the model, like in 2017, that was like my very same initial reaction. I was like, nope. This is all I want to do. This is the only way. This is the best way. Was there something that, like, for you that almost like said, like, almost like triggered it? Or what would you say to somebody that has that mentality or has that, that almost like those blinders on as well, too?
Yeah. And I think a lot of agents do, right? And most agents probably have those blinders, and they're just not, either the timing for them is not there, or it's just one of those things, like they're just, or maybe they're just closed-minded with it, but yet it's, it's timing for everybody, it seems. And, for me and for a lot of people, I think is, it depends if you want to work in the business versus on the business. And it also depends on, what you want to do as far as leverage. And I think leverage is the key of all of this in this model, and understanding how things can multiply and compound. And once you understand and see that, it's hard to unsee it. So it's understanding, how can you leverage other people in your world to get the same result or better and more than just being in production. But it doesn't mean you have to give up production. It just comes along the side of that, the lines next to it. And then you're able to do the same thing. It's not like you're going to, give that up, right? I'm not giving up production at all. I have no interest in giving up production. Sometimes you got to step out of it a little bit to understand the differences of the two.
Yeah. So what I wrote down, because you cut out for a little bit there, but I wrote down a couple things as you were speaking. Well, the one was like, the most expensive thing you can own is a closed mind. So when Jose brought this to me, I said no to, even though I love him, he's like a brother from another mother. He's like my little brother. I said no to him for a whole year. Because I was like, nah, dude, I'm good. Like, I got this thing figured out, sort of thing. And then the second thing is, you said leverage, and you've really, I mean, I know you, bro. Like, you've really utilized the leverage that you understood at the time as much as you could. I mean, you built a team, you you did expansion teams, like you did all of that, right? So what did you learn about leverage, and how did that lead you to like this model?
I mean, as far as leverage is concerned, I mean, what I learned is making sure you partner with the right people, make the right hires, spending time to understand who is talent, who's not talent, understanding to be a good hire, right? Understand how to look for talent, find talent, hire talent, train talent, retain talent. That's how you get leverage. You can start multiplying when you get right people beside you. So in that process, just learn that, and that's hard. It's not easy. I struggle, every day, but we do it, So I think that's the, is it's just the key to growing, because you're only going to do so much yourself.
That's interesting. You know, it's funny you say that because like me and Jose were talking and I was looking, you know, the most amount of units I ever did in a calendar year was 202. And this year the organization is going to do 1,500, which is wild because you can make up for with leverage what you lack in ability. And to your point, you know, I can still like bang and do a lot of units and you can have a team, but then you can have this other thing that stands right next to you where essentially you have a team. It's just a digital team with an operational partner who handles everything.
Right. Love that.
Yeah. And that stands next to you as well. And I guess for you at this stage in your career, because again, like you've done everything in real estate, essentially, you know, you've sold all the homes, you've been 30 under 30 and 50 under 50. No, I'm just playing. He's been all the numbers.
Long time ago.
All the numbers, baby. So like he's been all the numbers, you know what I'm saying? He's got all the rewards and, you know, Wall Street Journal and like all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like you've done all of that. So at this stage in the game, like what's your goal and vision and why do you believe that this model is built to allow that to happen and really facilitate that happen?
Well, you know, being 52 years old, being in the business 30 years, you get to a place where, you know, you want to experience other things. And I think this model, once it's built and still builds and still allows you to have time and location freedom, what we talked about, that's inspiring to me. I've got 2 young kids still, right? I've got 2 older children too. And, you know, I want to really, you know, for me, it's building a legacy and building something that will last when I'm gone, right? Like that's kind of, you know, the motivation and underlining here that my kids will still have something that I'm able to leave them, you know, as a legacy. And it's about wealth building. And then also having freedom, right? Time and location freedom.
That's right.
And not to be just have to be here in one spot.
Yeah, it makes total sense to me. And what I learned, and I know we had lots of conversations about it, is that a lazy mind's answer is just to work harder. And truthfully, mine, I think you would like openly admit yours and even Jose's, like that was my focus, bro. Like just work harder, faster, more contacts, like, you know, 6 days a week,
Sure.
prospecting in the evenings, prospecting on Saturdays. But what I've learned over time is that hard work just leads to incremental gains. It leads to like, you know, more deals, like whatever. But if I want a quantum leap, if I want to go like a 10X thing, that's going to come from new vehicles, new mental maps, new skills that will allow me to make that jump. So you're no longer, it sounds like, because I know, you know, we used to be all very focused on like units and volume, and that was like this vanity metric. And now your metric is time in terms of time freedom, location freedom, but also like wealth accumulation. And you're recognizing that this model allows you wealth like very, very fast.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
That makes total sense. I remember being on a call with, when Jose first told me he made the transition, and I was like, nah. Like, bro, I'm going to make $100,000 a month. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like, that's cute, young man. Nice little pipe dream. And now I'm like, dude, that's totally possible. Like now that you know, actually get into the system. And then what you can also do is really, really help a lot of people, because what I'm aware of, Jeff, is like you are like you're like a real estate like treasure, bro. Like you've done all of this stuff and you know all this information, and now you really get unleashed to be able to, you know, really serve a lot of people and help them. And because of the way this model is, you'll just be compensated like an owner to do it.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what's attractive about this model is, and you explained it to me in a very interesting way that, you know, am I going to have the opportunity to become an owner of any brokerage? How many homes would you need to sell to become that? Am I going to have the opportunity to ever be a regional owner? Right. And yet with this model, you can be all of those too. You can build it without the risk, without the overhead, without the leases, right? Without all of that. I mean, you guys have done this, right? You're just as big as any region, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And continue to grow each and every day. You know, there's a quote that said is that, you know, if you don't figure out a way to make money while you're sleeping, you're going to work till you die.
Yep.
And
wow.
I think Warren Buffett might have said that. And, you know, I need to figure that out, right?
Yeah.
because
Well,
it's passive income, you know?
That's right. And the great news is you will figure it out because now you're hanging out with some people who have been tinkering with it for 3 or 4 years and figuring it out. Jose, I see you curiously writing down notes. What's coming up?
What I agree with Jeff is I think it comes down to timing for a lot of people. Like for me, it was also my kids. In 2017, I had no kids. 2019, I had my kids. By 2021, I had made the switch to the company. So for me, it was that. What I wanted to ask Jeff is, because I had the same option too. I have a broker's license. I could have gone and opened up my own brokerage, basically. And quite frankly, like I've had a couple of people that we talked to, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm just going to open up my own brokerage." To your understanding, like why not just open up your own brokerage and basically grow it versus going the EXP route?
This is just a partnership that allows me to have my own type of brokerage, but then I leverage everything else out to them, right? So it feels and it can act and feel like and move like a brokerage, but without all the risk.
Yeah.
So why not? I mean, for the little amount of company dollar that's actually paid, you can't operate anywhere, even in anywhere compares to this, right? And then on top of it, all the other opportunity for the growth aspect of being able to grow an organization, right? That was really intrigues me. And you know what? I looked at this model for years, right? And I've been on these calls with other people for years, on and off. And I was, sounds good, and what showed up for me recently, or not recently, but I'm too late to the game, right? That was 5 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. And yet, I look at it more and more, and I'm thinking like, we're just the beginning of the game, right?
Oh yeah.
And here's the cool part. You guys have been here a while, and people before that, you all have blazed this trail already, which I don't need to do. I can just get on the same trail and go faster now because the shit's already ready for me.
100%. And I'm in complete agreement with you, Jeff, that like we're just getting started. I was talking to, I was in Puerto Rico with Brent Gold, Gene Frederick, and Gene is very much so like a strategic thinker. And he was saying to me that like, in the retail game, let's say in retail sales, Amazon has 65% of all retail traffic online now, and just retail sales in general. But there still exists like Macy's, JCPenney's, Dillard's, right? And people go there, but they don't make any money. And they have to figure out different ways of making money. So what he was saying is those traditional models, they're JCPenney's, Macy's, and Dillard's. And 40% of all agents are with those companies. So what will happen over time, just because of math, not because of any other reason, is that there will be a migration, right? Mm-hmm. So in the next 10 years, with a very high degree of probability, just because of mathematics, is that 50% of all agents will be with cloud-based brokerage. So, and because we're first to market, right? We will have 60 to 65% of all of that traffic. So that with a very, when I say things like, yeah, we're going to go to like 400,000 agents, people are like, but like, when you start to step back and look at it, you're like, yeah, dude, there's no reason why that couldn't happen. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's why I'm so excited about it. Because when somebody explained it to me this way, if you're riding like a tsunami, like a wave, you can accomplish more in 4 or 5 years riding that wave than you could 30 years of just grinding it out without all of that momentum behind you.
For sure.
And I think that's completely factually correct. Yeah. The other thing I really liked about what you said is like, it's this awareness, which you see very clearly. I was in Cabo and these guys were talking and doing a presentation, and this guy was saying he had built out like offices, like 26 of them. 2006 happened. He got hammered, lost everything. They formed like a company and were out like gobbling them up, right? And he lost everything. He had to go to his wife stage. Like I had to go to my wife and be like, dude, we're going to have to start over. And he found this model, made the transition, and he broke it down. He said, in any other business, you would have a tremendous amount of risk involved in starting that business. Not only do you need a bunch of capital to start it, but you also need to sign leases, particularly in the real estate space. You need to sign, let's say, franchise agreements or all these other things that lock you in for an extended time. And he said, here, if you, find, like he said, one really strong leader will build to 500. If you could find 4 leaders like that, they'll build to 2,000. That will be about $1 million a year in income. And if sold at a multiple, it's like a $10 million asset.
Yeah, with no capital.
And no capital, which is insane, right? That's just crazy. So you clearly see it like 100%. You see what we're seeing. And it's part of the reason why we're so excited about this. So I guess for you, being that you're like, yeah, dude, I'm not late to the party at all, because that's how I felt, and in 2.7 or like a little over 2.5 years, we've built to like over 400 agents. So that'll just continue to keep growing. So I guess your vision is, you see this as, hey, it's a great place for me to sell real estate operationally. Splits, caps, fees, all the money, it all makes sense.
Yeah, and with less friction and less cost, for sure. Yeah. And more opportunity for income streams.
That's right. So less friction on the operation side, because you're still going to sell a lot of properties, and that's awesome. We're still going to do that. You also get equity, which you're like, hey, in other models, I wouldn't be able to own anything, maybe own part of like an office, but we both know there's not that much money there, if any at all. Yep. And then the third option is this other option where you can, build like a digital team that is not restricted in geographic locations. And essentially it's a regional ownership opportunity.
True. Yeah.
With no risk.
Yep. And, for years, one of the things I was kind of, to share, kind of hung up on was about brick and mortar, right?
Yep.
You look around and there's these magnificent, beautiful offices built. But you and I both know, we walk in there right now. Pick any real estate office on the corner, the best corner location in your town. Empty. You walk in there, and guess who's in there? The W-2 employees, the staff who's paid to be there. Yeah. There's not a freaking one. There's not one freaking agent in there. But it looks nice.
What's wild about what you're saying? Me and Jose, when I was out there this year, we visited a guy. He has 1,000 agents. He spent $2 million building. Exactly what you're saying. It was just like a training room, like gorgeous meeting areas. Yeah. There was literally like 2 people in the building, which were the W-2 employees.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, you build these big buildings. They think, I'll build it, they'll come. Nobody's coming. And what I've noticed is, so that was one. 2 is, what I know right now, and I think we all agree, is an agent doesn't necessarily need an office to go to. They just want to have an address to say, in case they need a presence of a location, they could say, hey, I do have an office here. And, or if they wanted to meet a client, okay, they have a good place to meet them, right? Whatever that looks, wherever that may be. So what we did was, just kind of to solve that problem locally is, I already had a mega agent office, which I'm standing in. It never had branding out front. We just made it into a branch office, opened up my same place I've always done business. And now we're solving that problem for the local agents that may want to partner with us. So they actually have a place to say, hey, I've got an address, right? Or they can come use my office. They can come use my office if they, need to meet somebody. And perfect. So, it just worked out for us that right now, timing wise, just makes sense. And to be able to open this branch office too.
Stoked, bro.
Yeah. So we're excited, man.
I want to be respectful of your time, because I know you got another meeting to go to. Are you good on?
Yeah. I was two more
you
minutes.
got to bounce out of the call?
Yeah, 2 more minutes.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, here's what's true, bro. I want to be respectful, because that call is talking to another mega agent about making a change to the E, the X, and the P. Hey, listen to me. They're all coming. It's not a question of if, it is simply when. And we're just, me and Jose, it's a privilege and a pleasure to be a partner with somebody of your caliber, brother. And now we get to unleash with our powers combined.
Yeah, I mean, just think about all the knowledge you have and your specialty and Jose's specialty, from investing to the media stuff to just selling real estate, being being a great agent that's skillful, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, think about the skill level that's on this, just us 3. We can teach agents. That's, we can get agents to do a lot more deals.
With me and Jose, we had this like a kind of relationship that's evolved over time. And now what happens is, like, so I used to be like kind of like a guide in his business, but he was in his business and I was in my business and Jeff was in his business. But now what happens is, now we all get to collaborate on the same business. Yep. And we get to unleash all of that specialized knowledge, all of those particular skill sets, and just help each other grow. So again, brother, we're excited to be a partnership with you. Go hop on that call. Let's get another one to the team, and let's grow.
Yeah, let's go for sure, guys. Thank you so much. It's an honor.
The one and only Mr. Jeff Quinton, baby. Hey, isn't that fantastic, Jose? Isn't that exciting, bro? That caliber, bro, like that caliber of agent, like he's just one of the best to ever do it.
Yeah. Well, I think what it also makes me think of is the understanding of leverage, and I think that's what's most important, because a lot of times people think like, okay, like I'm going to build a team and then that's going to provide me the time and location freedom that I'm looking for. Then they're like, okay, maybe this is not the way to do it because there's obviously issues with that model. Then they're like, okay, maybe I'll start up a brokerage and that's going to provide me the time and location freedom and that's going to be the solution. But there's also issues that come along with the model. And based on what I've seen from like people that have tried or not tried, people that have done the team and successfully have done it, it doesn't really provide them the time and location freedom that they thought that they would have along with it. People that do the brokerage thing and are successful at it, but it doesn't provide them the time and location freedom that they really desired. It's not until they do the E and the X and the P model where they're like, oh, wow, like this actually gives me the time and freedom model that I want, because it basically, you have an operational partner, which the operational partner is the E and the X and the P, and they are extremely efficient at what they do. And their vision is to make it super simple for agents to process transactions and to provide all these additional benefits and then what ancillary streams of income.
100%. And then what our job, and then it's an experiment in distributed leadership, where in other models, leadership is concentrated. There's like one regional owner,
and it gets assigned to like individuals.
It gets assigned, and then it also gets protected.
Yeah.
I'm
the regional manager. Yeah. I'm the team leader.
And I sign agreements that nobody can do this. It's protectionist. And what that leads to is, in my experience, it leads to a lack of innovation. It leads to complacency. You know what I mean? And for that reason, having distributed leadership, it's a little bit more kind of amorphous. At the same time, it leads to growth, because then it becomes a super highway for leaders. Anybody can lead. You just have to have the courage and the ability and the skills to be able to do it. And what I'm also aware of, like what you were saying in terms of like an operational partner, that's the thing that's interesting. So remember how last week we were talking about how I was on that cruise and I was sitting down with with Grant and Brandon Dawson and Brandon. I was at dinner with Brandon and all these guys that are trying to scale these companies to $100 million and exit. And they were talking to me about their program and what they do and their coaching program and stuff. And what I realized as they were talking to me about it, I was like, oh, wait a minute. I'm like, what you guys do is amazing. Like, it's great. It is amazing, because growing and scaling a business to sell is incredibly hard. It's incredibly difficult. So having like consultants who can guide you in that process is fantastic. But I realized in what we're doing, I'm like, I actually don't need what you're doing, because Glenn has already scaled the company for me. He has all the leaders in place. Like on the operation side, like I don't need to do that. All me and you need to do is just add value, and whoever adds more value wins. And, we do that via media and giving $1 million worth of game away for free. I'm currently writing a book, like anything we could do to add value to others, to bring people to the well. And they're the ones that are operating the company. That's the key difference. And to your point about leverage, ever since that mastermind that, we were in together that I led, that's what we would talk for the last 2 or 3 years. We've been talking about that, haven't we?
Yeah.
And for the last 2 or 3 years, we talked about how, what we learned from Novello, which is that there's 4 forms of leverage that form like a triangle. At the bottom is labor. The next one is capital. The next one's media. The next one's software. And that one mental map, combined with Hermosi's opportunity ladder, has been 2 of the mental maps that I've been essentially making all decisions from for the last 3 years. And it's resulted in my life completely changing because of the understanding of leverage. But it's clear as we talk to Jeff, he gets it.
100%. And it's interesting because I think for different people, it takes different things to trigger it. Like some people have to go out and prospect for 20 years. Some people have to go out and build a team for another 20 years. And then some people have to go out and build the brokerage. And then they're like, okay, these aren't the ways. And then they're like, oh, this is the way. So for somebody who maybe is newer, take the experience of somebody who's seasoned, somebody who sold 5,000 properties in their career, and they'd be like, okay, maybe there's something here. Maybe there's something that I'm not seeing. And here's what I would say. And this is what I saw. And this, I remember when we spoke about it, this is one of the things that I told Aaron. I told him, look, one of the best things about this company is that if I own my own brokerage in Ventura County and I want to hire partners to grow it, a lot of times I'm limited by location, meaning like I'm only licensed for the state of California, meaning I can only invite agents in California. And a lot of the agents are going to be like, well, like, hey, why would I partner with you in Ventura if I have an office in San Francisco? So there's limits to that model. And then the other thing is that when Aaron and I spoke was like, with this model, it allows us to grow with agents nationwide and worldwide and get the very best leaders in the world to be part of the organization. So what's happening now is we have different leaders that specialize in different things and we teach different things to our organization, which makes it very hard for a small mom and pop shop local brokerage to compete. Hey, you want the best person in sales, persuasion, media? You got Aaron Novello. You want the best person for building a team? You got Lars Hedenborg. You want somebody who is very good at investing in real estate? You got Jose Luis Morales. You got Jeff Quinton now, So you got like these very powerful leaders all now under the Elite Builders umbrella that can all pour into agents and help them be able to grow their business. With now combined, dude, we're probably like 10, 15,000 sales by having different leaders in the organization. Just between the leaders, there's probably about 15,000 sales combined in there.
Yeah,
which is insane.
It's crazy. And in order to attract A+ talent, you need an A+ opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's attracting these really powerful leaders. And then what you were saying as well is interesting because when I looked at metrics, we're talking about like 15,000 transactions. But we're in like 15 states now.
Yeah.
Where if you were to
and
open
growing.
up and growing, like, the goal and objective in a short kind of order will be to be in all the states. And what I'm aware of is, to your point, like I think entrepreneurs have a tendency to like entrepreneur things. You know what I mean? Like they try to build a better mousetrap. And I also think that, there's a saying culturally, it's like, hey, like we say like, oh, well, they're going to have to learn themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like they're going to have to learn that lesson just by kind of doing something. So I think, our industry has people that are hard charging and smart and like that sort of thing. What is the constraints are the constraints of it, they're just constraints of thinking, right? Where me and you have the capacity with this model to be in the brokerage business, but we have an operational partner who runs it. That's crazy.
And
the constraint is like limiting thinking, like I gotta be like in this area and like that sort of thing. It's just like a limited thinking in the way that it used to be.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. Everybody, and this is one thing that I loved about the model, because like at my previous company, I could invite an agent to join and I would receive special perks probably as a result of it, like either like special treatment or special cap or whatever. But what I liked about this opportunity is that everybody had the same opportunity that I did. Everybody has the opportunity to get stocks within the company in 5 different ways, meaning everybody has the opportunity to become a shareholder, which is another word for an owner. Everybody has the opportunity that if they invite somebody else on, they can earn a small residual piece of that pie. So what I loved about this model is that if I join a brokerage, there's no amount of homes oftentimes that I can sell to become an owner in the company, there is an owner, but I don't have that opportunity when I join that brokerage. The other thing is that if I invite agents on, maybe they'll give me a gift card, but there's no way for me to participate for the rest of my life in a small portion of that revenue. And this opportunity is available for me. It's available for Aaron. And the other thing is that even if I invite somebody, that person has the ability to grow bigger than me, and that person has the ability to make more money than me. In most hierarchies or most business models, that's not the case. Whoever invites you is on top of you, or the owner is always on top of you, and there's no way for you to pass them. So with this model, it actually incentivizes Aaron as a leader to help other people grow. And if they pass him, congratulations, we all win, basically, with them.
We all win. That's exactly right. And we've had that happen where, like,
yeah,
even though you
make more money than me.
Yeah, even though you invited me into the company, like that happened.
And I'm okay with that.
I know he's totally fine with it. Totally fine with it. Yeah. So, and again, like I don't want to like gloss over like how fun it is to do meaningful work with people that you like and enjoy. Because imagine like all the people in real estate that like maybe you have good relationships with, or you like, or they're like really powerful people, and maybe you collaborate and you kind of work on stuff, but like they have their business and you have your business. But imagine being able to play in the playground and play the game of business together
with the people that you love and care about. That's the best part. That's one of the best parts, that we all get to collaborate with each other. Imagine having the ability to hire the very best in the world and being able to grow a business with them. That's what this opportunity is.
That's exactly what it is, bro. And I'm just grateful that you just kept bothering me about it, bro. Because I told him hard no for like a while. I was like, nah, I'm good.
Not only that, but let's say that I was going to grow my own brokerage. Like a lot of times, a lot of people don't realize this, but as you're growing a business at very first, a lot of the responsibility falls on you. Like, meaning there is a lot of responsibility. Like when I didn't have an assistant, dude, I was the person making the paychecks. I was the person processing the deals. I was the person selling the properties. Everything fell on me. Then I got an assistant. A little bit less fell on me. Then I hired more assistants. A little bit less fell on me. It's the same thing if you decide to start your brokerage. You're going to be that one person. Now, what I like about this is for somebody like Jeff to plug into Elite Builders, there's already certain infrastructure in place. And instead of everybody going to Jeff for trainings, or everybody going to Jeff for the leaders, we can split the leadership between different leaders. Jeff's people can jump on a call with Aaron, and Aaron will be like, hey, I'll help you. Jeff's people can jump on a call with me. I'll be like, hey, I'll help you. So it's instead of trying to grow something individually, you're growing something together with very powerful people that are all incentivized by the same thing and all incentivized to grow.
That's exactly right. So, I really like what Jeff said about like, because I think a lot of people will say, oh, like you're late. I mean, you're late and I'm like, dude, that's not, we've built, and I've received equity just like you have. And we've built, an organization that's continuing to grow and in 15 states. And they'll tell you it's oversaturated. It's like, no, it's not true. What's really true is who adds more value wins. Whoever adds more value wins. And what I'm aware of is like when somebody really sees this model, Jose, if they are smart, hardworking, and ambitious, and somebody explains it to them properly, once they see it, they can't unsee it. It becomes like a thing where it's like, well, why would I not do this? And I'm like, I don't know. Why would you not? You know what I mean?
Well, here's the other thing, and this is something that I really appreciate about you. When I got into the real estate company, you asked me a key distinction question. You said, Jose, what is your competitive advantage in your marketplace? And I said, well, I'm smart. I'm honest. I'm hardworking. He's like, nope. I'm like, what is your competitive advantage? You said, well, I am more skillful than anybody else in my market, meaning I practice more, I train more, I am a better communicator and a better salesperson and have better systems than other people. And I was like, oh, wow, that's actually a competitive advantage. I see a lot of agents making this mistake right now. So some agents are switching brokerages, and some agents are joining different brokerages because they're saying this, oh, it's a newer company Imagine being at the top of a newer company, just like when the very first pioneers joined eXp. Imagine being those early pioneers. But what I tell people is that that's not a competitive advantage, guys. Like, what's going to happen when a different model opens up that is newer, that's slightly better, or has something slightly different? Those same people that joined because they were at the top are going to make the same move, hoping that that has a impact in their business. What I have learned is that, and this is how we've been able to grow elite builders, is that whoever has the largest value proposition for agents, regardless of which company you work for, that's the people that are going to win. So at Elite Builders, we're consistently focused on, okay, how do we put different leaders in place that have different skills that can help agents do what they want to do? You want to build a team? Great. Let me connect you with Lars. You want to build media, be a top producing agent? Great. We got Aaron. You want to learn how to invest? We got me. And then it's about putting different leaders in place to be able to help them with that. So I believe that it's not, okay, who's joining the newest, coolest, shiny object thing. It's whoever provides the largest value proposition will win in the end. And that's a strategy that I feel very comfortable with about, okay,
Yeah,
how can we add value to the agents?
Yep. And I'm 1,000,000% in agreement with that. And what I'm also aware of is, like, short games are not games that I want to play because the rewards aren't great. I want to play long games with long people. The reason I want to play long games is most people aren't willing to play them. But the results, like the outcomes, are disproportionately bigger than short games. And I want to play them with long people. What does that mean? People that are smart, hardworking, and have integrity. Because if you're smart, hardworking, and have no integrity, then you end up in jail. You know what I mean? There's countless examples, like Enron, the guy who was the CEO of Enron, like his roommate in college at Harvard was a vice president of the United States. So he was smart. He was hardworking, but he didn't have integrity, so he ended up in jail. You know, it's one of the biggest bankruptcies like ever on Wall Street. So I just want to play long games with long people. And when you look, when something innovates in a space, everything after the innovator looks like the innovator. Yeah. So nobody's trying to look like legacy models in the real estate space. Who are they all trying to look like? All trying to look like eXp. So we're the innovator in the space, right? And what's also true is nobody catches up to the innovator. The reason is because the cost to catch up is huge. So, like, it cost us like $100 million to get to, like, you know, whatever it was, like 80,000 agents, or where we're currently at, like 87,000, whatever. Well, it cost our closest competitor $100 million to get to a fourth of that. So they're going to have to spend, like, you know what I'm saying? Like just a wild amount of money, like 10x the amount of money just to catch up. And also, as an innovator, it puts you in a very unique position. It's kind of like a top of the hill, where now you're just looking down at the landscape, which is the best position you want to be in, by the way. Like in warfare, you want to be like at the top, like a high spot, because you can see everything that's going on. And what's really cool about being in that position, and the position that eXp is in, is that if anybody comes up with something that's cool or they innovate in a model, guess what we can do, Jose? Because we're already profitable on that scale.
Press a button.
Press a button, and we just implement it. Boop, done.
It's funny because that was one of the things that Aaron and I talked about at the very beginning. How, because we looked at different models and we're like, okay, why eXp? And this is one thing that I heard somewhere and I forgot. And it was like, okay, like there was a point where Tesla had the fastest car in production. And then the Hellcat, for whatever reason, became the fastest car. And Elon was like, I don't like that. You know? Yeah. And what was crazy about Tesla is that he literally pressed a button, did a software upgrade, and with that software update, all of a sudden Tesla was the fastest car again out there. And what it makes me think about, like, and a lot of people don't see this. They're like, oh, well, this model offers this or this model offers that. Because eXp is already profitable at scale, what they can do is they could be like, oh, that's interesting. We're profitable at scale. Let me make a tweak to this compensation model. oh, that wipes out that competitive advantage already that broker had. Boom, kills that brokerage from growing. So that's what that reminds me of, that because they're already profitable at scale. And not only that, but there's just a lot more risk. So there's a lot more risk, and there's a lot more growing pains that come along with basically being with a model that's unprofitable, you know?
Yeah. And well, in what Gene told me, like, because again, he's a very strategic thinker, Gene Frederick. He said like 10%, just because you copy a model doesn't mean it's going to work. Only 10% of all businesses that get started actually make it. That means 90% fail. So if there's 22 now that are copying what we're doing, 90% of them are going to fail. And what Leo told me, who's the CEO of eXp, when we did a talk, we did a kind of podcast together. He was like, yeah, we're the Uber of cloud-based brokerage. Everybody else is fighting to be Lyft. He's right. 100%. Like, and what's interesting about that, so, you know, thinking's difficult. That's why everybody just judges. The really hardest part about all of this, Jose, is thinking. It's really doing that heavy lifting. Like, what is leverage? I remember you told me, bro, you were kind enough to share. You'd be like, bro, you've been talking about that for like a year. I think I finally like actually understand what you're talking about. Like the opportunity ladder. You were like, yeah, dude, I've heard it like 10 times, but like this last time, you know, that last event we did, you're like,
it made sense.
I got it now. I got it. Makes sense to me. So that's the hard part, is the heavy lifting of thinking about leverage, thinking about platforms. Or when I realized I saw this article that Michael Del Prete, or I think it's his name, Del Prete or Del Prete. He does a really good job of aggregating real estate data and presenting it in a way that's clear and concise. He also has no skin in the game, so he's not like biased in any way.
Yeah.
But he did an article maybe like a couple months ago, and it was like, he called it cash flow kings, because he's like, the measure of any business is like who's actually generating cash. And there were, of all the models out there, there were two that were generating the most cash. It was Zillow and eXp. And I thought to myself, why is that? Well, one of the questions I always like to ask agents, I'm like, well, do brokerages actually sell any real estate? And they're like, well, you have to think about it. They're like, no. I'm like, oh, who does? Not like the agents. I'm like, oh, so it's just a platform like YouTube. I'm like, does YouTube create any content? The company? No. Who does? Creators. So it's just a platform. Yeah. So brokerages are actually platforms just to process transactions. Okay. What's interesting is that the two companies that are generating the most cash, they are platforms, but they're existing where platforms exist, which is where?
In the cloud.
In the cloud. Yeah. All of the other platforms don't realize that they're platforms, and they're still existing in the physical world, which is why they're not making any money. That was like this, like, oh, that's what's going on here. Right. So I think the hard part is just thinking. And then once you've done the heavy lifting of thinking and you've triangulated ideas with believable people, we were just talking about this. Like, I don't say this to be egotistical or whatever, but you know, you were on a call with somebody and you're trying to tell them, and they're like arguing with you. I'm like, hey, Jose's going to do like 2 million in GCI this year, bro. He owns 57 doors. He has like 420 agents in the organization. Like, why do you imagine for some reason you figured something else out? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just thinking things through. And once you've thought them through, having the courage of your convictions, and then just waiting. Because when I was with Gene, he owned 6 offices that were like the best of the best in like Silicon Valley and all the best places. And he sold them all, and everybody thought he was nuts. And now 7 years later, there's 19,000 agents. And his life is completely different. So it's just doing the heavy lifting, finding people that you trust their judgment, and, you know, taking advantage of the opportunity, because I do think it's enormous. And I know it has the capacity to change people's lives the way the sky is blue and the grass is green, because it's changed my life that way.
Yeah. What I was thinking about is like, I've heard this, and I don't know this for a fact, but also like, there's different companies that are owned by like investors, and as opposed to like the founder and the agents. And I was thinking about like, okay, like that would be one thing that I'd be looking into as well too, to see who owns the other company. Because if there's outside more outside investors than actual agents or owners, it's more apt for that model to change in a way where it actually becomes more profitable for the business as opposed to the agents and the shareholders. I don't know this for a fact, but it is my understanding that most of eXp is owned by the founder and the agents.
The vast majority of the stock is owned by the founders and agents. And that's a very good observation. Where in other models, if you take on investors, you have a fiduciary responsibility to make a profit to the investors. So the decisions that you're going to make, no matter what you put in kind of marketing or propaganda about being age eccentric and like that whole thing, if you have investors, you have to cater to them and make a profit, and who they're going to have to, the decisions that they're going to make are going to lean towards that versus, what's best for agents.
Agreed, 100% on that. I was trying to Chat GPT is so great, bro, because you can ask it literally anything and it'll tell you like, hey, look. So that's what I was, in case you were wondering, like, hey, what's Jose doing on his phone? That's what I was trying.
I figured you were writing me like a little note that you just wanted me to.
No, not at all. Nah, zero chance of that happening.
Nah, bro. Hey, did you see in that video they showed the video of me balling you up?
Oh my goodness! You know what's funny?
Yeah.
It probably wasn't the full video. It's probably like a shot. That's almost like, hey, I took a listing today. Versus, hey, look, I sold 100 listings. It's like, hey, it's like a small little snippet.
Of what actually went down. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Well, listen, bro, this has been an enjoyable use of my non-refundable precious breaths. I know it has been for you as well. We're super excited. I think it's just a reflection of the leadership here and what we're doing, that we're attracting such high caliber people to the organization. And 2025 is going to be fire, bro. So
insane.
Yeah. Hey, and if you're out there and you want to hang out with me and Jose, okay, and Jeff, because he'll be there too, and Pace Morby, get your tickets to the Do More Deals Summit. They are going to sell out. Okay. There's only 300 tickets. We're about, I don't know, like close to half the way, sold. So I know they're going to sell out. I promise they will. Love to meet you. Love to have you in the room and to be a part of what we're doing. We're going to have the founder of the Enzo Dialer in the room doing a presentation, gets 40, 50 contacts an hour. We're going to have the founder of Need to Sell My House Fast, which is an awesome lead source that Jose's used for lots of listings and wholesales and flips. I'll be doing a presentation. Jose will be doing a presentation. We're going to have $1 million panel with agents that are doing $1 million in GCI. It's really going to be completely designed and equipped to help you to do more deals, because that's our goal and objective here at the Elite Builders, because we focus on the good stuff, baby. So let's go, let's grow. Your boys are out. Peace.